Hello everyone for the Jewish Week Online. I'm your host, Aaron Herman. We had the opportunity to speak with comedian Rachel Bloom about her new album, Suck at Christmas, a Chanukah album. She recently released a fun video called Chanukah Honey, a parody on Santa Baby. Let's take a closer look.
Chanukah honey, you got your MBA from Penn, amen. That is such a good school, Chanukah honey, so come and light my candle tonight. Chanukah honey, at the JCC you play basketball, so tall. You must be 5'8", Chanukah honey, so come and flip my latkes tonight. I know why you're such a tease. It's 'cause your last 3 girlfriends were Japanese. I'm exotic too. I've been to Palm Beach. Oh, by the way, I think our parents have mutual friends. The Shachters, do you know them? Chanukah honey, you make puns just like my dad. So rad. You say challah like challah, Chanukah honey, so come and spin my dreidel. You may think I'm stuffy 'cause I work in finance, but my bat mitzvah theme was dance. Let me make all your dreams come true. Oh, by the way, you went to camp with my friend's step-cousin. Small world. Chanukah honey, can you hear those wedding bells? LOL. But seriously, do you want kids? Chanukah honey, so come kiss my mezuzah tonight. I heard you were the beatboxer on your college a cappella group. Come and bless my challah tonight. I'd love to hear your version of Who Let the Dogs Out. Mezuzah is the name for my...
Tell us a little bit about your work and bringing your Jewishness to the forefront.
Well, yeah, I've been doing musical comedy for the past couple years, and actually the new music video and the new song is part of a whole album of Hanukkah comedy songs that I just released yesterday called Suck at Christmas, a Hanukkah album. And we decided, I co-wrote the album with my boyfriend Dan Greger, who's also a comedian, and my frequent musical collaborator Jack Dolgen. And we decided to do an album of Hanukkah comedy songs because there are so many Christmas albums and even like Christmas comedy albums, and there's never anything about Hanukkah. So we decided to do a whole album of Hanukkah stuff and also just songs about being Jewish in general, because we felt like there was a real lack of it, and all 3 of us are Jewish, and were raised in varying kind of religious degrees and cultural degrees. But yeah, so it was a really exciting musical project for me because it was a whole new album, and we did it in like 3 months.
What I love about the new video is you tap into that, like everyone's seen like those Christmas songs and video, and yeah. you got that spin. Tell us a little bit about creating the video.
Well, we definitely wanted that like sultry Christmas vibe, because the more sultry, the lyrics are so unsexy. Like the lyrics are like, basically when we wrote the song, we tried to think of specifics like a grandmother would say, because that's like what impresses Jewish girls, is stuff that your like mother or grandmother would love. So when we made the video, we just wanted to make it as like sultry looking and like kind of holiday sexy as possible to get those very like unsexy words to stand out. So I definitely, wanted that blue Santa dress, which I ended up making because no one sells a blue Santa dress. And so we had a great, Dan Greger, who co-wrote the album, directed it, and we had this great cinematographer who's the same cinematographer for Key and Peele, actually. His name's Charles Pappert, and we had great people working on it.
One of my favorite scenes is when you're actually like in the kitchen, and he has like sliding across, trying to make that connection, and saying, "Oh, we might have someone in common,"
Yeah.
like it was awesome, It's just
Thank you.
those moments you're like, she gets it, she gets it.
It's so funny because I performed the song live a couple times, and it's like it's definitely funny to people who aren't Jewish, but like when you say like the mutual friends line, or like you went to camp with my friend's step cousin, it's just like this shorthand among like all types of Jews, like Reform to like super Hasidic, that like you always search for some connection, be it like the thinnest string.
No, it definitely has that impact where you're looking, you find your Jewish core, and I think that's critical. Find that Jewish core is, especially when you're doing a music video that you're tailoring to a certain group. It's understanding that group.
Yes.
What does it mean to be a Jewish comic?
Well, I think that Jewish and comic are in some ways synonymous. I mean, there are so many Jewish comics, and I think that also like being being raised in the Jewish culture, I feel like humor is so inherent to it, especially with the roots of Yiddish, which has been a mostly forgotten language. But Yiddish was a language that was so based in like double entendre and like kind of cutting wit. They called it German despite the Germans, which was the original reason kind of Yiddish came about. So it's playing into being a Jewish comic. It's playing into self-deprecation, but also playing into this idea of being the other. It's a really delicate balance. Like when we were on set of the Hanukkah video, we were trying to explain the sentiment of the video and of the album in general, that it's both like somehow self-deprecating, but also like superior in some ways, because that's just what Jewish humor kind of is. It's like it's self-hatred, but it's also saying like we're the chosen people at the same time. So it's whenever you do Jewish humor, it's striking that like delicate, weird balance that's kind of like intangible. It's really hard to describe when you try to like codify it.
What's your favorite part of the music video?
What's my favorite part? I really like the parallel of, and I hope it's apparent, of I crawl on the carpet kind of sexily at first, and then I jump up on the counter and I crawl. I really like those two parallels because you have it first being sexy, and then you have the kind of same shot being just desperate. Like as I'm like knocking potatoes out of the way and knocking flour out of the way. I really like that shot.
Yeah, you definitely can come away with that, that feeling and imagery. What are you hoping to achieve with this video?
Well, I just wanted to release a funny holiday Hanukkah song that I think would resonate with people. I want to play into like what Jews already like, which is like jokes about themselves. But I also think that the song and the video makes certain observations in a really specific way that'll cause people to hopefully be like a little introspective, but it's mostly just to make people laugh.
Was there any point during your creative process where you're like, that's gonna work, that is gonna like, I'm not, when you're starting that process, you're like, that's gonna work, and then they're like, well, that worked really well.
Yeah, when we first thought of the song, the second we were like, oh, it's a parody of Santa Baby called Hanukkah Honey, and then we were brainstorming, and we were like, oh my God, that's a great idea, and I was like, oh yeah, it would be like, Hanukkah Honey, you got your MBA from Penn. That was the first specific we had, and we were like, oh, that's great. Like, already we were like, yeah, that's awesome. And then once we figured out the tone, because the tone was a little, it's a little like difficult at first, because it's like we don't want to be too cute with it, You know, we don't want to be too easy with the humor, but we also don't want to get too dark and too sexual, frankly. We want to strike that balance. And then once we struck that balance after brainstorming, we felt really good about it because I think it has a really specific tone and a really specific voice, which is always my goal with anything I do.
And I think that's really important, especially when you start thinking about developing, going viral, is
Sure.
is the message, and then there's the song which everyone relates to, but that the end all is like what's the goal of the video or the message.
Yeah.
And did anything as you were filming, we were like, I achieved it. I achieved the goal. This is, I'm sure you've done multiple edits and things like that, but was there a time where you're like, achieved?
I think like the second we just seeing that set up in front of the fireplace with all the Hanukkah decorations and like the Santa dress, I was like, oh, this is completely the tone that we're going for. Like that felt really good. That was how I imagined it. Like whenever you shoot something, there are always things that surprise you, and then there's always the goal of seeing before your eyes like what you'd imagined. And I think like the second I saw that whole fireplace setup, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what we thought.
Yeah, obviously Jews during this time, the Christmas songs and the other videos that are out there isn't that, I'd say there's always that punchline, the Jewishness, but your video achieves the goal and that punchiness of saying we're Jewish, we're proud, and we live in the modern world.
Thank you. I'm really glad, and it was interesting for me because the people who did, we all did this video and this album, and we all kind of had varying degrees of like, we were all raised in varying religious degrees. Like my boyfriend went to yeshiva, but I was like, I actually like dropped out of Hebrew school before I could get bat mitzvah. But I think it's a long story, but I think I'm going to be getting bat mitzvah next year at age 26. So like for me, it's actually been really thematic in like rediscovering my culture and my heritage for myself, like 13 years after I should have, and then this album happens to come along, and it's made me think about like what is Jewish identity a lot, because it's kind of it's an intangible thing that means different things to everyone.
For sure, and what I love about this is it came from within, in that when you rediscover yourself and what it means to be Jewish, whatever that means to you, but it came from within, and you're expressing it. And the work that you did through comedy, and then it's a culmination of the excitement and rediscovering.
Yeah, totally.
When you think about like comedy, like the best comedies out there, is there a place that you want to be like in the next 5 years into the Jewish comedy?
Oh God. Well, I'm not too savvy on like I mean again like comedians and Jewish comedians, especially in LA and New York, are so synonymous at this point that I just want to be, I just want to get better as a comedian, and then my Jewishness and my Jewish kind of heritage be inherent in that, like kind of just in that package.
Yeah. Where can people learn more about your work and your album?
Sure. Well, they can go to my website, racheldoesstuff.com. It's RACHELDOESSTUFF.com. And they can also buy hard copies of the album there if they want to give it as a Hanukkah present, maybe. Maybe so, maybe you do. And then they can also check out the album. iTunes is being a little slow, but it's on sale on Amazon and Google Play and a couple of other sites. Basically any digital site that sells music right now. And then my YouTube channel, Rachel Does Stuff. And we'll be releasing 2 other music videos before the holiday season ends that both also have to do with Hanukkah. And one is a video we're doing with Maker Studios. That's an animation live-action hybrid called Happy Epic Hanukkah, and it's like a rock and roll retelling of Hanukkah. And then the other is a parody of Silent Night called Lonely Night, and it's basically a children's choir singing about being a Jewish kid on Christmas, and we'll be releasing that around Christmas with the internet channel Above Average.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, because like especially now with there's different platforms and different ways to connect people to their Judaism. Digital engagement is critical, and these type of things only help enhance the ways that people connect. And it's great that you're doing this for yourself and also for the Jewish community as a whole to really
Thank
appreciate
you.
your Judaism. So
Oh, thank you.
very excited to see what the next level.
I will keep you posted about the new videos. Yeah, I'm really happy that we released it. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it.
As you can see, music and comedy are wonderful tools to bring Jewishness to the forefront and inspire people around the globe. This is Aaron Herman, and thank you for watching.